Hello. I know. Last week, I had a problem with recording. That's why I didn't have one. I just had one on Spotify. But this is very much going. I got my energy drink that I clearly don't need. I'm already over caffeinated. So I did want to thank everybody for your support. And I know that if you did see the video that I released yesterday, it's been good, and I want people to stick to doing the 80-20 rule, something that I've been practicing for quite some time, and see how it falls in your health and wellness, mental health, physical health during the pandemic. So if you haven't gone and checked out that video, go check it out. It's just kind of a how-to of some of the things that I've been doing for the past 10 years practicing and trying to figure it out, and about 6 years now with going on. It's helped me with my physical and mental state, mainly attributed to just the consistency of kind of following it. So if you're struggling with your weight, if you're struggling with your mental health, if you're struggling with your physical strength, if you're struggling with any of those things, go check that video out. And now, enough about that video. But seriously, go check it out. I'm going to drink on mic again. So I've been diving deep and reading a lot about body positivity. And also, of course, because I am involved in the fitness industry, the health and wellness industry, I wanted to see if there's a way that we can bridge the gap of understanding and kind of clear up all these misconceptions, because I've read a lot of, I'll say for the lack of a better word, just odd articles where it's people saying all sorts of stuff. So, but I found kind of a couple of them that I'm going to cite. I'll even share them down in the comments. You guys can click on them and see exactly what I was reading. So with the idea, it for me, which has always been look twice inward before you look once, outward, I wanted to take on this dicey topic. I think it's a very tough topic to get into, because there's so many people you're going to offend, so many people who aren't going to understand, so many people who obviously are very sensitive about their body. And I think that it's men and women. A lot of these articles that I see, obviously geared towards women, and I've seen some revised ones where they've now added men and women into it, because I do think it's important. Because I know just as many people struggling, male and female. So with that being said, I do want to go over this article. Close to half of the U.S. population projected to have obesity by 2030. Now, after I read this, it was it's very clear. It's very clear to me on that, even cited in here, that some of the states by 2030 would be over 60% obesity, which is obese rate. So that's just crazy high, and so I wanted to talk about that and what this means for people as far as overall health and wellness. Now, first off, it's very important to understand why being obese, being fat, being morbidly obese is a problem. It's a health problem. It's a health problem because we have the information now more than ever, due to the pandemic and in other research that we've always been able to cite, that people who are morbidly obese or obese have a higher risk for other diseases. And heart disease seems to be the big one in women, and obviously in men too, but really leading causes for women. Now, with me reading some of the other things about being body positive and people being or people accepting you for being a larger person, in my opinion, I think you could be happy in whatever you want to be. I think that your own preference of your body is your business, and don't ever let anybody devalue you as a human because of your body. Period. With that being said, health and wellness, we know the information. We know, and we have known. There is no health benefits for being 120 pounds overweight. There is no health benefits for being 60 to 70 pounds overweight. Now, remember what I said. If you want to be overweight and you're confident in your body and you feel sexy in your body, I don't think it's anybody's right to take that or to try to take that away from you or talk it out of you. But if we're talking just strictly health and wellness, you have to know that you're at a higher risk for heart disease. You're at a higher risk for diabetes. You're at a higher risk for cancer. You're at a higher risk for a lot of problems. So just as long as you don't start, in my eyes, with that type of bullshit where you go, I'm healthy, or I'm positive, I love my body, my boyfriend loves my body, my girlfriend loves my body, whatever it is, because I see a lot of it with men too, men and women, once again, being added. I've seen a lot of revised when men added. I think that's fine. Somebody's sexual preference for you or their body preference for you or your sexual preference or whatever is not what we're talking about here. And I think that they get kind of twisted up. So the repercussions of having, in some states, 60% of the population to be obese is insane. That would be such a burden on our healthcare system, such a failure in education for America, for ourselves. And I do believe it was citing that it would mostly affect people who make under the amounts of $50,000 a year, $55,000 a year. So it was geared towards the lower middle class, the BMI category for women, non-Hispanic Black adults, and those who annual incomes below $50,000 per year. So here's the other thing. Now that we know that too, we know that it's a problem with our education. A lot of the things that I've read, it seems to be just the educational part that we've seemed to fail at. And I can totally understand why. So with that being said, just don't confuse, like I said, being body positive and feeling sexy in your own body, or feeling like somebody, you shouldn't be listening to these outside people on how they view you. I think people do that too much now already. But talk about your health and wellness. And I've cited this before, and I've said this before. Do you remember Adele? When she was, a thicker person or a bigger person, I mean, she got so much like, oh, be body positive, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as she lost, I think it was like 80 pounds or something. As soon as she lost that weight, she caught so much shit. People just hated on her. And it's like, you hated on a person who was just trying to take care of their health and their wellness. And that's actually what she said. And it's also like, if we were body positive when somebody was a little bit heavier, why aren't we body positive when they try to take care of themselves? And we're talking about the health and wellness side. What's to say? Maybe she did feel more comfortable being at a heavier weight. What happens if she came out and said that? Like, hey, I did like it, but, I just, I feel better now doing this, Or, hey, yeah, I really liked, this, but, I just feel better. My heart feels better. I can sing better. I can move better. I'm not, at risk for diabetes or any of those things. It's like, where were we on that? It's like people need to take care of their physical health and wellness. And I think that if people just kind of run the other way, in my opinion, I think that's some mental, wellness. We got to focus on that. It's like, don't hate on her for losing weight. That's what she wanted to do. So I cited this. I'll keep this link at the bottom. And it really was an interesting short read, but it was just kind of direct and to the point. So now I wanted to read something, and I'm not hating on this person. I just so happened to stumble on this article. And the article is, "I'm fat and I'm not proud of it." So this woman is a fitness trainer, a personal trainer, and cites that she's fat, which, cool, good for you. But I'm having an issue with some of the things that she has said here. All right, so this is some of the things that she was saying. "Well, I always got comments, but theirs are different. Instead of being laced with support and encouragement, they're dripping with sarcasm or skepticism and cynicism. When placed in the receiving end of these dialogues, it's easy to find myself feeling offended and hurt, undermined and uncertain. It doesn't matter if those comments come from close family or friends, social media followers, or random internet naysayers. Either way, words have enormous power." I agree with her. "What I've come to realize, though, is it's more than anything else. These words depict ignorance." Okay, we can go with that. "So I no longer try to defend my stance and prove the validity of my perspective." Not good, because that's not my job. My job is to keep the lines of communication open and invite others to the conversation. And that's what I'd like to do here. Okay. "I'm here to explain the perspective that I use to coach my clients and hopefully help them gain an understanding on why I'm so passionate about this. But it's totally okay if you still disagree with me or need some time to wrap your head around of these concepts. I will not put forth my truth, and you do with it what you feel is right to you." Okay. So, I'm fat and I'm not proud of it. I'm also not proud of it. Okay. So, here's the issue I have with some of the things that she said. I'll read one more paragraph and we'll go from there. "The body positive movement is a movement that encourages people to adopt more forgiving and affirming attitudes towards their body with the goal of improving overall health and well-being. The body positive movement focuses on building self-esteem through improving one's self-image." Okay. Basically, it suggests that instead of hating your bodies for all the things that it doesn't do, that we wish it did, and for all the ways it doesn't look like we've been told it should, we accept every part of what it is. The physical home which we are given to live in for the duration of our time in this world. Okay. Despite popular beliefs, being body positive does not just mean celebrating all body types while ignoring the way that you treat them. It means celebrating the body types which learning to care for them in the manner and support health at every size. And then I will cite this one more. I'm sorry. "A woman with an eating disorder may be gauntly thin, pleasantly plump, or even plus size. A woman who technically obese may be in far greater shape than a physical healthier than someone half her size." Okay. First off, if you have an eating disorder, and if you have any sort of eating disorder, keep in mind, I'm not talking to you. And keep in mind, you need to go seek professional help. I only recommend seeking professional help when somebody has had an eating disorder. So, with that being said, I understand where this trainer is coming from, in understanding that you should love your body and you should love the body that you are given in its entirety throughout your life. You don't have to love it every day, but you certainly want to take care of it. So I can totally respect that, and I can get that. Where she starts to kind of lose me is that, yes, you can be a little overweight and still be healthier than somebody that is very, very thin. But we're not sitting there. We're talking about health and wellness. I don't think somebody who is extremely thin and structurally or strength-wise is very, very weak is all that strong or very healthy. That's just from what I know. In my career, I've always focused on strength training, better balance understanding of eating, and focusing on sleep and mental health and wellness, and then kind of combining all of those things and putting them in there. I'm not by no means training bodybuilders or fitness competitors or any of those things that really sell the fitness industry. That's kind of not my bag. But yes, you can be healthier than somebody that is thinner than you, but you also need to understand, and I would take the philosophy of, you always can be improving on your health and wellness. You always can be improving on your body, on the way that you feel, and the way that you think about yourself. So I totally understand, where she's coming from, but not addressing that people are morbidly obese or obese, and not trying to do something kind of about it. It's like, yes, you want to focus on strength. Yes, you want to focus on wellness, but you also want to talk about, calories in, calories out. Are you eating too much? I would say most people, it's a yes. A lot of people overeat drastically, and they have no idea the value of a calorie. They have no idea the value of some of the foods that they're putting in their bodies. And I think that that's a problem. I think that's a huge problem. So to kind of just say, hey, you're okay the way that you are, let's just focus on just strength or just movement, and not address that, yes, you can gain muscle and gain muscle mass, but yet your heart is still pumping, with that extra 120 pounds of fat on your body. That is not a good system. That's not a good system. And I don't think that's very good for people trying to be body positive either, because what you're doing is you're ignoring something you actually could change. You really, really could change for it. I had a client that I trained, and he had one hand. And I had another client that I trained, and he had a prosthetic leg. And then I had another client, which I didn't even know, had one eye. He had a glass eye. I had no idea that he had a glass eye. Now, I think for the body positive movement, and I believe all of them, one of them was in Iraq, lost it in Iraq. The other one had one hand, who was born with it, and then I don't remember what happened to the person with the who had one eye. But I think the body positive movement would be more for them, because those are things they can't change. It's something that's happened to them, and they need to stay strong mentally because they've lost something, or maybe they were born with it and told they could never do something. And so for them, that to me is more of the body positive type of movement. But being morbidly obese or being obese is something you actually can change. So for me, I've always kind of wondered why it is that we are so protected around this subject. And I think I have a little bit of a grasp on it. So all the TED Talks that I've just watched, and some of the articles, and I'll review the last one, which I think was a great article about this whole subject. I think that it has to do with the protection of people's feelings. And I understand how touchy a subject this is. When I was a kid, I had terrible acne. my acne was insane. I used to put on makeup. I used to steal the makeup out of my mom's cabinet. I don't know what I was doing. There's no foundation. I didn't get a how-to tutorial on YouTube. I just was slapping on makeup because I was embarrassed. I had such bad acne, and it was mainly just because I was a dirty boy teenager. That's just what happened. And I just was going through it, and I just had bad acne, and I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed. And I remember even when my friends would talk about like their breakouts or talk about having a couple pimples, I would just all of a sudden be like, ooh, I don't want to be a part of that. So I completely understand. I also have had my issues with my own weight. It's never gotten too out of control. I mean, there's been a couple of times where I was very, very heavy just because I was dealing with some stuff with some relationship stuff, some depression type stuff. And I let my weight get away from me for a little bit, but then I got kind of right back on it, and I knew it was something I needed to do. But being really embarrassed about something that you could change, like I understand that people's feelings are involved, and people are very fragile. People are very fragile right now. People also are very fragile when it comes to something that they weren't educated on or things weren't talked about. Once again, going back to the education of things, and to see some people really ignoring the fact that they could change if they wanted to. If you don't want to, that's different. But if we're talking about health and wellness and living a better life, I'm even going to say, let's keep all that social pressure out of it. And I know how hard that is for most people to do, but it's like, listen, if you really are happy with your body and you really are happy and balanced in your mind and you really love the emotional person that you are, trying to get healthier, trying to get your weight down so you don't have to worry about heart disease as much, and you don't have to worry about type 2 diabetes, and you don't have to worry about being a burden on a healthcare system that's already just teetering. It's just not, we're losing that battle. All for just understanding, having a better understanding of nutrition and movement and strength gains, and having your body be more like a Swiss Army knife. What could you do? What can you do with this body that you've been given? And I like looking at it as like it's a utility. I mean, your body, you should be able to jump, move, lift, run. It feels so good, and it's something that don't take it for granted, because there's people who really do need to embrace that positive body image. How many I follow so many people on Instagram with one arms or no legs, and they're doing Spartan races and pull-ups, and they're not letting any of the things that really do hold them back. So that's what I kind of always have geared that towards. But something that you actually could physically change, I think that it's a good message to know. It's like, you could be whatever you want. You don't have to do any of those things. You could stay being, and if you're happy with your body and you don't want to change it, don't change it. I'm not telling you to change it. What I'm saying is that there's more to it. There's more to life than missing out on those types of things. That's all I'm saying. I like to use my body as, like I said, I like to run, I like to move, I like to punch, I like to, do all of those things. I can barely sit still, but there, it's, I love my body when I'm, 205 pounds. I love my body when I was 210, 225. I liked my body when I was, 190, 185, but they all have like different things that they can do during that time. So it's like, I just kind of knew that part. So if you guys get a chance, just kind of take a look at this article. You can read it in its entirety. I like that she says the body's being one. Oh, but the body being one of those tools. So she definitely can look at it like this. But like I said, I mean, just kind of going off of, she's kind of going off of the beaten path with like, hey, just accept it that you're fat. I didn't like that. It's like you can change and not be morbidly obese and obese at any moment if you really wanted to. And it's like, it's just a matter of, do you really want to? And I just can't get behind the message of, hey, you're perfect the way that you are. In my opinion, I think anybody at any time can always improve on anything. So it's like, I'm always like, no, you're not okay the way that you are. You could be better, and you know you could be better. And I know how hard that is in such a sensitive situation such as this. But I think, what type of message is it just to tell somebody, hey, you're good the way that you are, be body positive, and, kind of, hey, just move on, screw all these people. It's like, yeah, screw all the people that are saying something, but what are you saying in your head? What are you believing in your head? Not what other people say. What are you believing? So it's like, if you want to change, and you really do, and there's this little voice in you saying, that would be easier if I was this, go with that. So then I wanted to cite positive body image isn't enough. It is Amy Green, PhD candidate. So I really liked some of the stuff that she had to say. And it was definitely some really good pointers, and kind of matched similar with how I would read it. You guys, I will put this down in the comments so you guys can look at it. Promote mindful self-care. I really like that. So things to promote mind-body connection, like mindfulness, compassion, self-soothing, spirituality, art, and physical care of the body. In promoting these activities, we can encourage teens to focus on how they feel from within and when they engage in these pursuits, rather than what they look like while doing them. That's huge. I just really like that, because I've trained a lot of young women, a lot of young men, and what I can tell you, they're always so focused on this, what they look like. Oh my God, I look terrible. Oh, don't look in that mirror. Oh, I'm not going to do that. Hey, are my biceps big enough? Hey, is my chest big enough? I need to get, bigger arms so she'll look at me, or whatever. And a lot of these young men and women come in here, and that's what they think. They think so much on the aesthetics. But I also say, hey man, how do you feel? Hey, were you able to go a little bit farther? Did you cut your time down in the mile run? Did you feel better? When I have a young female, she's training here, and I go, how'd that squat feel? Did it feel lighter than it did before? And they're like, yeah, I could do that, no problem. That is a huge win. And it's like, focus on those achievements, those physical achievements, those achievements that really just, it really opens their eyes and makes them feel good because they've actually accomplished something. It's like, they're so focused on their looks that they don't realize that they actually just accomplished something, and it's a huge accomplishment. So I was focusing on that, and this was another one. Focus on body functionality. So this one was good, and she writes it for young women. Girls learn how to be very young, at a very young age, that their bodies are valued for what they look like. Thus, it's important to promote body functionality, which everything the body is capable of doing rather than how it looks. That's so important. Focusing on how strong a girl's legs are and how to help her run and play soccer rather than how cute she looks like in her uniform. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, man, this is great. This is the type of thing. It's an actual accomplishment. You actually accomplished something. So it feels so good. So focusing on the strength, focusing on how you feel, focus on what you did the week before, comparing yourself to only yourself and moving forward. It is such a refreshing thing. You have no idea. When I stopped comparing myself to all of the people I was looking up to on Instagram or on YouTube, or not, like all these people that I would compare myself to, I started to realize at a very, very young age that that was not going to fly. That's not going to work, because I had almost nothing in common with any of those people. Not to say that I started off worse than they did, but what I'm saying is that I knew that comparing myself to some of these greats or some of these people who've already accomplished so many things, that's not a good model. That's not a good way to do it. So I started comparing to myself to what I did the week before, what I did the day before, whether it be physical achievements, these little small things, whether it be business stuff, you name it. That's where I got my confidence. That's where I felt the best. So, and when I deal with a lot of trainings with young people, those are the ones that I'm like, yes, this is where it's at, because they can see their progress. And when they can see their progress, they get that hit of like, woo, yes. And they get so excited because, like I said, they actually accomplished something. So that was huge. Look at the social context, which is also good. We can model ways to engaging in activities that promote positive embodiment and encouraging girls surrounding themselves and peers who do the same. Things like sports, yoga, healthy, mindful eating. And we can challenge society with the whole promote places and spaces where girls can develop positive embodiment in a holistic, well-rounded way. So basically, it's not about always the girl posing in the Gymshark leggings, and it's not always just looking at that person, boom, okay, that's it, that's me. It's what did that person in those Gymshark leggings, what was she doing? Was she focus on the other stuff that person was doing, whether it be lifting, yoga, some sort of achievement, or looking at these young men who look up to all these bodybuilders or strength athletes or any of those things. Really focus on the accomplishments of how good it would feel if you did something even remotely like that, and measure it in that way, not in just the aesthetics way, because I do think that's dangerous, just looking at the aesthetic stuff, which is kind of what all this is about. So I will leave these 3 articles down in there, and I have to kind of close this out with saying what I would do and why I agreed so much with that last article, because of the fear of 60% of some states will have obesity. Like, that is just mind-boggling. It's just awful. It's such a bad situation by 2030. There's a way we can bridge, we can make this gap turn into a body positive health conscious. Body positive health conscious. We need to focus on that. If we don't, what's going to happen is you are going to have all of these kids being told, or all of these people being told the same message, that you are okay the way that you are. And now what they're hearing is, I'm okay the way that I am. I don't have to change. I won't have to learn. I don't have to grow. That will be a huge downfall. One, for the mental damage that will do later when they realize that they do need to do stuff, that there are people who are competitive and are moving forward and are very conscious and are going to be the ones directly that they are going to be in some sort of activity or competition against. And then you have the other side where the health risks, all those people, those kids or those people who have heard that type of message don't take very good care of themselves. So then you have the downfall, and it's disease. It just wreaks havoc on their system. It wreaks havoc on your genetics. And then it's the mental decline after that, because you feel so defeated and you were not given the tools to get yourself out of it. So my message, or the thing that I would tell people more than anything else, which is, be body positive. Love yourself. This is your body. You take control of it. It is yours. You do what you want with it. I'm not here, nor is anybody here to tell you otherwise. But you need to be health conscious, and I mean that in a sense of the well-rounded of the word. I'm not talking about health like you're thinking fitness, person with washboard abs and biceps and 2% body fat. That's not health and wellness. That's fitness. I'm talking about focusing on loving your body, but also taking better care of it. Care, real care. And to me, that's always been doing one thing towards my mental and physical, or towards my mental health, something to calm down each week. It's also been to me personally, it's been to strength train. I've been a huge proponent or pusher of strength training more than anything else. You can measure your progress when you do that, and it feels so good to see things go up or things stay the same or know where you need to move things around. Focusing on sleep, which is very important for your body. Okay, so remember, stay body positive, but stay health and wellness conscious. I'm out. I hope that helped. It was a good subject. I know, but it is something that I needed to say, I needed to tackle. So hopefully those things help. I'm out of here. I'll see you all next episode. Later.
Live sculpted.